In early 20th century America, Jim Crow laws enforced racial segregation. In response, the NAACP was founded in 1909 to fight injustice. The NAACP employed a strategy of legal challenges, protests, and advocacy. In 1915, Guinn v. United States struck down the Grandfather Clause, a victory for voting rights. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund, established in 1939, became a powerhouse for justice. Thurgood Marshall led the legal battles, becoming a formidable force in the courtroom. The landmark Brown v. Board of Education decision in 1954 declared school segregation unconstitutional. The NAACP's work paved the way for the broader civil rights movement. Today, the NAACP's legacy continues as the fight for equality persists. Jim Crow laws permeated daily life, creating systemic injustice. The NAACP mobilized at the grassroots level, organizing communities and registering voters. Meticulous planning went into each legal challenge, aiming to dismantle segregation. The Guinn decision restored voting rights, marking a significant step forward. The Legal Defense Fund grew, taking on more cases and staff in its fight for justice. Marshall and his team meticulously prepared for the historic Brown v. Board case. The Brown decision ushered in a new era, though resistance remained. The NAACP expanded its fight to housing, employment, and public accommodations. The struggle for equality continues. The NAACP's mission is as vital today as ever.
Between 1916 and 1970, over 6 million African Americans made a bold decision to leave the rural South for the urban North. This wasn't just a change of address. It was a seismic shift that would reshape America's demographic, cultural, and political landscape for generations to come. So, what drove so many African Americans to leave the South? The answer lies in 2 words: Jim Crow. These oppressive laws enforced racial segregation and stripped African Americans of their rights. Imagine this: in 1896, there were 130,000 African American registered voters in Louisiana. By 1904, only 1,342 remained. We're talking about separate and unequal facilities, voter suppression, and constant threats of violence. Families sold what little they had, said goodbye to loved ones, and boarded trains heading north. It was a leap into the unknown, but for many it felt like the only way forward. What made the North so attractive? In a word, opportunity. The industrial boom in cities like Chicago, Detroit, and New York created demand for workers. And with World War I reducing European immigration, northern factories turned to the South for labor. For African Americans, this meant the promise of better wages and a chance at economic mobility. In fact, by 1970, the number of African Americans holding white-collar jobs had tripled compared to 1940. But the North wasn't exactly the promised land. Sure, there was more freedom from Jim Crow laws, but discrimination didn't magically disappear at the Mason-Dixon line. Still, they persevered. They formed vibrant communities, created support networks, and slowly but surely began to change the face of America's cities. The Great Migration wasn't just about moving bodies. It was about moving ideas, culture, and dreams. As African Americans established themselves in northern cities, they brought with them the rhythms of the South, the stories of their ancestors, and the determination to build a better future. This led to an explosion of creativity that we now call the Harlem Renaissance. Did you know that 87% of African American literary works published between 1917 and 1929 were written by migrants or children of migrants? Children of migrants. But the impact went beyond art and literature. The Great Migration laid the groundwork for the Civil Rights Movement. By concentrating in urban areas, African Americans gained political clout. They organized, they voted, and the Americans gained political clout. They organized, they voted, and they demanded change. The children and grandchildren of those initial most significant civil rights battles of the 20th century. Some of the most significant civil rights battles of the 20th century. very real sense. The South culminated in the March on Washington and the passing of the Civil Rights Act. The Great Migration was more than just a demographic shift. It was a profound assertion of agency, a quest for dignity and justice in the face of systemic oppression. It reshaped America, challenging the nation to live up to its ideals of equality and opportunity. And while we've come a long way since then, the legacy of this great journey continues to influence our struggles and aspirations today. As we face our own challenges, we can draw inspiration from the courage and resilience of those 6 million pioneers who dared to dream of a better life. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button for more.